Good evening, ladies.
Good evening. How are we doing today?
Good evening, Kendra. Good evening, Ms. Bullard.
Well, I working on this thesis statement. I working on this paper, this doctorate. We got 50 slides.
You get your PhD when you finish it.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
How long we have?
It is due on Sunday, the 20th
Yeah, I know it's due.
at 11:59.
It's due on Sunday, but how long is the presentation?
It should be about 20 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll be able to knock all of that. Hopefully.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
so 20 to 30 minutes, and then you should have a Q&A period.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got that feedback. Appreciate that. The thing is that the challenge that I'm running into, I have about maybe 7-8 person from Royal Bank. I also did an interview with someone from the bank, not relative to an internal customer, but actually in regards to their marketing scheme.
Okay, but that would be an internal customer. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering if anybody is considering the internal customer at all.
I am going to try to reach out to her and actually go through the survey with her. Hopefully I can do that tomorrow.
Okay.
But I did actually sit down and do a 20-minute interview with her while I was on vacation. But I didn't think I just focused on the marketing aspect, not really her being an internal customer.
Correct. Okay, well, Branique is also an internal customer, so perhaps you could speak to her as well.
Okay. I got a survey, Renique. I give her my survey. Tell her it's confidential. She ain't gonna get victimized.
Right. Well, it's good that you almost there, so that's good. That you're not down to the wire. So everybody, so you would say that you are what, about 60% complete?
I would say we're about 50%. We're just we're compiling all of our information. See, I've already started my end because I'm doing the presentation, so I kind of know where my head is at in regards to Royal Bank. And the ladies are still pulling in more surveys. I find that persons who are more definitely, from what I'm looking at, Ms. Bullet, definitely are more favorable towards Commonwealth Bank. I think Commonwealth Bank is from what I'm seeing, is one of the most well accepted financial institutions in this country right now.
Yeah, because it's actually for the Bahamian people, and Bahamians are very patriotic, and they are loyal to who is loyal to them. And so even though, back in the day, Commonwealth had the reputation of very high interest rates across the board, like if you go there to get a loan, they had the highest interest rate, but they also balance it with the highest savings and term deposit rates as well at a certain point. And so after persons felt like it was a wash, then and this the bank for Bahamians, and you can't sit up in Royal Bank and get served the same day and get this loan that you desperately need. At Commonwealth Bank, you could do that. You know what I mean?
And I think we take more risk with Bahamians as well.
Right, but it's a local bank. Who else is their target market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they.
So the people feel that they are more welcomed, and it's an easier process, or they could qualify. Whereas I don't think many feel, especially the government workers, feel that they would even qualify if they go into like a Royal Bank, or would even be considered. So perception is a big thing.
I think though, with government actually branching off to BOB in regards to persons establishing accounts who coming into the civil service, I don't think Royal Bank took too kindly to that.
Yeah, but tell me what government wouldn't have done it, and why did it take our government so long to implement that?
It took us, I think it took took them being in a financial difficulty and actually trying to funnel funds and fees through BOB for them to finally realize that they need to start feeding into Bank of the Bahamas. But
Okay.
in my opinion, anything that government gets their hands into, Tedesco, that paper I wrote on the history of banking for banking law.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Ms. Bullard, I can send that to you for you. It's a class that's already gone. So every single entity, financial institution that government had their hands in has failed. Going all the way back to 1835, it has failed, and it has failed miserably. The Bank of Nassau. I mean, it's beautiful, Moss.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, considering that like they overexpose their friends and families. At least in that's the downside of it. With the Canadian parents or the Swiss parents, there are some controls in place, and normally the approval, goes up to I guess in terms of speech about they got, some I don't know if Royal Bank together, but some of the cronies getting, these loans that they don't qualify for. And like I say, rich people don't pay bills, they just write them off. And so their buddy, their bosom buddy, or their buddy from Toastmasters or Kiwanis is the CEO. And so when it comes to, can some of you mute your mic, please? When it comes to write-offs, they say, oh yeah, that's Miss Bullet, just write it off. Don't, and we are talking about for millionaires. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, but like strategically, I felt like it was a good move to, for marketing purposes. Of course, the government, all your civil servants, their salary should go through the government bank, and hopefully, well, I think that has given it a lot of stability. Now they need to clamp down on the loan side and ensuring that persons actually qualify for the loans that they issuing, not because of who they are, they automatically qualify.
I think if I remember correctly, several weeks ago, they revealed some of their numbers. Say they were up like 11% from where they were last year. I'm like, bro, that ain't much, because 11 last year was terrible.
Right,
So,
right. Like you actually comparing something to 2020.
Yes, stop using. It's like in economics using that base year. For the Bahamas to use to show our GDP to go back to a properly operated base year. We got to go all the way back to 2017, where we did not have a hurricane or a pandemic, something that dramatically affected the GDP.
Well, see, Kendrick, that message was not for you. That was for the masses, for the grassroots, for the people who wouldn't know any better and who would just say, well, they're making progress and they just come in power. Right? The thing that they did this in September, right? So, yeah, this knowledge sometimes it can harm you. Okay, well, good conversation. Okay, so welcome all. Kendrick was just giving me an update on where his team is with the project, and he's saying that he is 50% there, and he will be ready on Sunday. So what I'm trying to determine, if you need some extra time to come together and iron out the or fine tune it and to be able to submit on Sunday. Bernice, where are you with your team?
Good night, everyone.
Good
I would say we're a little more than 50%. We're just compiling. We have our information. We just have to compile it. So we're almost there.
Okay. And we will be ready to present on Tuesday.
Yes, Mom.
Yes. Okay. Good. That's Bernice, Omara, and Denara. Dania, how's your group with the insurance? Is Dania there? No, Dania isn't there. Dorset?
That's it. We have data. Just compiling now. I can't really give a percentage on how done we are, but it will be submitted and we'll be ready to present.
Okay, very good. And Renita? Or are you in the same as Kendrick?
Yeah, good night, everybody. Miss Willard, yes, I'm with Kendrick, but sorry to cut you off. I'm still at work. I'm gonna
Okay.
listen, but I just want to, I did sit in on a Rotaract meeting last week, the southeast of Nassau. They had a speaker, Lionel Haven, and it's Rotary Foundation Month. So he basically went through the process and the procedures and what they were about and their funding and scholarships that they offer. So he basically gave an overview of Rotary. It was quite interesting, seeing that I'm trying to decide between Rotary and Kiwanis, but the meeting was last week, Wednesday. Yeah, last week, Wednesday.
Okay, very good.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
I just wanted, so I'll continue to listen, but I just wanted to put that in because like I said, I'm still at work. I'm trying to hurry get out so I can actually get home.
Okay, and drive safely.
Thank you.
Okay. So very good, and I hope you found, like you said, you found it beneficial, and I hope you are able to join both, or at least visit one, join one, and visit one per
I'll
month.
try
So
to join one.
it's good, and introduce yourself and network.
Right.
Okay, very
Okay.
good. Jade, what about your group?
It's only me and Miss Aswood. We are almost finished with the project. We only have to put it in slides.
Okay, so
Yes,
very
ma'am.
good. And even though you are disabled a little bit, my apologies, because I did reach out, but I didn't get a reply from the other person, Shanicia. So very good that you both, you and Patrick just did it. So very good.
Thank you.
And anybody else wants to share for their 5%?
Ms. Bullet, I
Yeah.
have a question in regards to the project. We are doing, me, Tanara, and Bernique, we're doing the gaming house, and I've been looking in the newspaper, and I don't see no ads about gaming houses. I was wondering if we could use social media content because I see that they use that a lot to advertise.
Yes, of course. 'Cause remember, initially I said if they don't use newspaper, then find out what they do use, which is more than likely social media. Remember we talked about the Guardian ads being like $1,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so right. So if they don't use the newspaper, but it's social media, that's fine. Or the radio, and that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, so nobody else for their 5%.
Yes, hi, Ms. Bullard. This is Denara.
Okay, go ahead.
I also attended the meeting that Renita attended, the Rotary, and it was quite interesting. I learned about the scholarships that they offer, the grants that they offer, and the minimum budget that they have for the year. And with the grant scholarships, the study periods is from 1 to 4 years, and the area of alignment of focus should be volunteer or study experience or some academic program. And they also talked about vocational training, in which they have traveling groups of professionals and they learn about their vocation. They teach professionals about a particular field and they strengthen knowledge and skills. And then they also talked about their Rotary Peace Centers, which offers master's degrees or professional development certificates in fields related to the peace studies and conflict resolution.
What is the peace studies?
Well, with the peace studies, it mostly deals with persons and hold on, I wrote it down. Let me see if I can find it. Like to settle like disputes and stuff, like leadership.
Okay.
Yeah. And they have like an endowment fund. And that's about all I remember.
Okay. Okay, Danara, thanks. And so these scholarships, are these for the members, or these scholarships are for like, donations to the wider community?
Well, they are for the members, and they you have to apply for them. So and it depends on you'll have to fill out like an application form, and then they will determine if you apply, if you are granted these scholarships.
Okay, well, sounds like a very sound organization that can offer its members scholarships or even financial aid. So it sounds very good. Definitely you would want to join because there are some benefits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so check it out. There are lots of opportunities out there. And years ago when I started working in the bank, the manager said, come on, everybody wants to learn. This was back in 1990 something. And anybody who wants to learn, and she taught us, she said, when you open the newspaper and the newspaper says the government is going to invest 50 million in small businesses, or the IDB is going to loan Bahamas a certain amount of money, she said you must always think that a piece of that is yours, and you go out there and find out how to get it. And so each year since then, I've always listened to the budget. I've always found where the investments are, and I've sought information, or I have, directed, like the other day, it was the Bahamas Development Bank, and they had a grant for persons in the area. The bank had moved to Montel Heights and Key West,
Uh,
and that Engliston community, they had a grant if your business was in Engliston, or if you lived in Engliston. And I had two persons there who lived in Engliston. I said, come on, they're gonna give you $2,000. And they was like, Miss Bullard, they ain't give it to us. That for, the higher ups. I said, no, 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 come on, let's just follow the instructions. And it was a little bit difficult to fill out the form, but again, in my network, I called up some people who worked there, and I said, hey, what you mean by this? Or what do you have to do, and how do you do that? And they took about 3 months, but they responded. And those two persons in Engliston, one is a little convenience store, a mom and pop shop, and one is car wash. And both of them got the $2,000. I also know of a bakery that got it as well. So don't miss these opportunities. If you, like I say, build up your revenue streams and listen to the budget each year, and listen to when donations are made. Piece of you are Bahamian, piece of the pie is for you. Some, but the cronies are gonna get the majority of it, but you can get some of it. And like I said, I actually have a fishing business where I applied to the Small Business Development Center, and I was granted a sum. They was giving fishing and farmers up to $50,000. So almost 10 fishermen in my network, they're like, oh, you gotta come help us apply. And so, we for the last we applied last year, November. It took 5 months, and then they said they would pay in 15 days. And we say, 15 days we waited, we heard nothing. And we was like, oh Lord, the government get changed and we can never get this money. But it took 5 months for them to tell us that we were approved. And then that was April, May, June, July, August, September, then another 5 months to actually fund us. But who else? It was grants that we applied for. You could have gotten loans, or you could have gotten an equity loan, or a grant, and we all applied for grants, and we had given up on it, and after the PM had announced election, we had said, oh, that's the end of that story. But you know how the government is rushing pay out everything before the government changed, right? Thank God they did, and we got paid. And so you just have to be a little bit patient, but there are opportunities out there. Okay. Very good. All right, so good that everybody. I was thinking that I wanted to give you some extra time, but it's fine. I said that we are all ready to present. This is our last class out of the month. And again, it's going to slow all the way down, because for the next 2 weeks, and we may not need 2 weeks, we are going to have presentations. And if we get through all of the presentations, we can move the review class up, and then we can also move the exam up. Or we could move the review class up, and then you can have 2 weeks before the exam. So after we do the presentations, we'll just do the I guess majority rule, and everybody vote on whether or not we want to do review right away and get the exam out of the way, or however you want it done. Okay. So very good. We did it. I hope by now we have a overview of customer service and a basic overview of marketing, and have some ideas of what we should be doing at work, and adjust we started off this class by saying there's a very big problem in the Bahamas, and by extension the world, in terms of customer service being very, very deficient. And so hopefully we would have learned something, and some self-awareness, and to ensure that when we go to work, we display our motto and our values and our mission and our goals, and we try as much as possible not to have our own agenda, but do what our jobs require us to do. Yeah, so did anybody read chapter 12?
Not the entirety, but I read a portion.
Okay, so I don't know how you're feeling in terms of information so far, but I don't want to overwhelm you so much about information. So to start off, it talks about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so for those of you who are in customer service, you should know what Maslow's hierarchy of needs is. And one or two of you should be able to discuss that with the class. Is that correct? No response?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Y'all
ma'am.
can't talk back to me.
Yeah.
Y'all get your last 1 point. So go into this exam with full points.
Yes.
Okay, so Tanisha, you
Page is that,
can
chapter
tell us
12.
all about Maslow's
No.
hierarchy of needs, and more than likely the final exam is going to cover the buying process. Did we read the buying process, and are we comfortable with the information? Can we have a discussion, or do we need to read this together to ensure that we get all the parts? Where are we now?
If we, Tanishka, you go. Let's talk much.
What page is
Oh,
that?
Lord.
What page is this?
176, that's where you would find Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Found it.
Yeah, we covered this in supervisory skills. Interesting. But Tanishka, you take it away.
Yeah, it's just Abraham Maslow, he's the guy, the gentleman who, developed this theory, and it has several pairs. That's physiological, safety, love, self-esteem, and self-actualization. So it simply states that, like, everybody have
a desire to fulfill one need. And once one need is met, there isn't a desire for that need anymore. So let me see how I could break it down in the work environment. Most persons can say they work for a feeling of, to fulfill their needs, to eat or, to take care of their family. So I would say that's a physiological need. Safety. Safety is like, just feeling protected. Self-esteem. Self-esteem is, Kendrick, you could finish explain it. Kendrick, you want to finish explaining?
Yeah, let me check for them tire tracks. You just threw me under the bus.
Okay, let me go ahead. I know both of you have the understanding of it. So Maslow, back in the days in the 1700s, there were these philosophers who came up with philosophy and how person's mind working, what motivates persons. And so this classification of needs is in relation to what motivates a person. And so Maslow said there are 5 basic needs, and he put them in order of self-actualization, which is personal fulfillment, or personal potential, feeling that you are, you are accomplished in life. You would have graduated high school or gotten your GED or on to college or have some achievement in life in terms of, fulfillment and in terms of, self-actualization. And then after self-actualization, then there's a need for esteem. So for interdependence and for status and for respect from others. Then there's a need to be loved or socially accepted. So that's a need that you get from relationships and from affection and from belonging to various groups. And then there's a safety need for security, in terms of having shelter, ensuring, safety is security and freedom from threat, and to ensure that, nobody is trying to kill you or take your life or what have you. And then there's a physiological need, which is food and shelter. And so what Maslow determined in this theory is that once one need is met, it no longer motivates you. And so in this hierarchy, even though self-actualization is at the top, it's actually the least of our needs, or it's number 5 in this needs hierarchy of needs. And so physiological needs need to be met first. You need to have food and shelter before you are concerned with safety. And I always use the same example is that Memorial Day weekend, I obviously my physiological needs are met. I have food and shelter. I can purchase a ticket to go to Miami. I'm ready to party, right? And so that would fulfill my social need. However, I'm on the plane and the plane saying turbulence, please fasten your seatbelt, and we start to see the plane shake from side to side. Am I any longer motivated by Memorial Day weekend?
No, ma'am.
Okay, because I want.
That depends on the intensity of the shocking.
Okay, so it's very intense, and they say they announcing a crash landing. So am I concerned about? I already paid for tickets. My outfit could get wet. I hope this when we crash, my outfit don't get wet. I just do my hair and my nails. Are they all any of those social stuff on my mind?
Nope.
No, ma'am.
What on my mind? What needs to be met right now?
Survival.
Life and prayer, and Lord, please give me one more chance. And if the good Lord does, I may not even go to this Memorial Day weekend any longer, right? I might even promise the Lord, Lord, if you let me live, I go into church. I ain't even go into this country anymore. Okay, so you could just think of various scenarios where Maslow has proven his theory. Once one need is met in the hierarchy of needs, the next one, it no longer motivates you. Okay, so again, it goes from the bottom, from the physiological needs, because again, if you don't have food and shelter, you think the Joneses at night who sleep outside, they worrying about anybody robbing them? You think somebody might steal their drugs or their alcohol, but you think their concern is, man, I have to find somewhere to sleep inside the night because somebody might rob me?
Oh, wow.
No, right? Because they don't even have food and shelter. Okay, so the book goes on to say, we are born with these needs. In addition, we learn other psychological needs as we grow in society. They are secondary or learned needs, and they include appreciation by others, respect by others regarded as important. And today, some people will kill for respect, right? And if they get in this heated arguments, they say, oh, you have to respect me, you have to respect me. So, again, he is suggesting that this thing of respect is learned, recognition or achievement. Okay. And so applying concepts to banking, it's possible to argue that banks help to meet security and safety needs. Again, you want to ensure that your money is in a bank like Kendrick mentioned earlier. From 19, what, Kendrick? Every government bank in Bahamas has failed.
Yeah, 18, if you go back to 1835 when they initiated currency, to the earliest banks, the Bank of Nassau, they loaned out more than almost 100% of what the depositors' money and could not recover on it. And since then, every bank that the government has had their hands in has massively failed, massively.
Okay. So perhaps every other bank except Bank in Bahamas may provide you with some security. Okay. It is also suggested that the purchase of certain financial products is an expression of self-actualization achievement. For example, in buying a house or a unit trust or a personal equity plan, the consumer indirectly making a statement about his achievements as a member of society. Again, you go into a new category or a new status if you are now a homeowner, you go from paying rent, so that's like a major accomplishment in your life. Okay. And so for the new persons who weren't in supervisory skills yet, Jade, do you understand the hierarchy of needs? Could you give some feedback?
I still reading over it again to get a better understanding.
Okay, but you do understand that there are 5 needs, and was the example good for you to see that if one need, if you go up the hierarchy, and if yes, physiological needs are not met, then you're not concerned about safety. If safety is not met, then you don't care who love, or or social. You aren't worrying about your boyfriend or your girlfriend and what's going on with them if your life in danger.
Yes,
Correct.
ma'am.
Right. What about you, Dorset? Sakron?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Give me some feedback on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, please.
Oh, based on the examples and text, I have a, I'm gonna say, I have a understanding of it and somewhat priority. Like, like you say, I don't, if I don't, I don't speak outside, I really don't, he really doesn't care about the stuff that you care about. So his priority is different from yours. His ideas about certain aspects of life different from those. the regular person who have the house and the car and like some of them have kids, but you know,
Okay, okay.
I have a understanding.
Okay, good, very good. Okay, so the book goes on to say motives sit between needs and action. Motives are derived from needs. A need motivates a person to take action. Being thirsty is the need, causes motives us to drink, to buy a drink, which is the action. If the need is sufficiently intensive, we are motivated to act. Motives serve to reduce tension. If we are too cold, we are motivated to reduce the tension in our bodies that is caused by seeking a source of warmth. If we are not accepted by those we regard as important, we aim to reduce the tension this caused by seeking to change our behavior so as to gain acceptance by those we value. This tension is also known as dissonance. When it exists, we aim to reduce it. Okay? For example, dissonance may arise when an item is purchased which does not give satisfaction. The buyer may feel that he has not done the right thing. This tension has to be reduced. Buyers may seek to convince themselves that they have bought the right thing by rereading the sales brochure or revisiting the salespeople who sold the product to them. Alternatively, they may get rid of the item and reduce the tension in this way. Importantly, that what remains likely to be a negative image of the supplier. Have we ever experienced dissonance? Have we bought one too many pairs of shoes? Because perhaps I know when I used to get upset, I used to always feel like I needed a gift or a treat. And I used to, back in the day, we used to have a checkbook with check card. I used to be, I'm stressed out, so I need a gift to make me feel better. And then you get home, and I was married back then. I had to hide the pair of shoes in the back trunk.
Lord.
And sorry, Kendrick.
You know,
Yeah, I had to hide a pair of shoes because my husband had said, if you bring one more pair of shoes and we're going to get put out. Okay, so here it is. I would say about 50 pairs of shoes and I only wore 2. Okay, and the shoes just sat in the closet and collected dust. And some I couldn't even wear, but because they were so pretty, I decided that, these 10-inch heels, these are beautiful. I need these. And so they sat in the closet and collected dust. And only Miss Bullitt do that. Nobody else. All these ladies in this class, nobody else had that issue.
Yes, ma'am. I always used to hide things in the closet. As far as I'm concerned, once you come in the closet, it was always in there.
And then you didn't just buy it, right? You didn't just
No.
catch it. Don't let me pass a sale. And
No.
right now, my
That is
problem
the
is
thing.
super value. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't hear you.
That was the thing. You just had to get it in the closet. So that was always in there.
Right. So you just throw the box outside, put the shoes in your purse, and pretend like it's there. Right. Yeah. Okay. Not only Miss Bullitt used to do that. Okay, but like now, I honestly I can't even go to Super Value because I've tried everything. I have a list. I said I'm gonna stick to the list, but I hate to run out of stuff. And so if the hand towel or the toilet paper or something is on sale, I'd be like, oh, this is a good deal. Let me just get this. And I end up, when I supposed to spend like $50, my bill is be like 200. And sometimes I only have $50 in my purse. And I say, I'm not gonna take my card. I'll be so shame I'll walk back out to the car and get my card and swipe it, or I go to the Super Value where there's a Royal Bank and I'll be going over there to withdraw. Anybody else? And when I get home, I demand a receipt from the people and I scan that receipt as if Super Value steal from me. I was like, I only came to spend $50. Anybody else? No?
I can't relate. I used to be like that.
Apple tree,
But
is it
not
from the
no
back
more.
or the apple tree, is it from the back, then the zero go, then the comma go there. Grandma?
Okay, somebody else talking to us. They have that problem too, eh? Yeah, okay, so that's just an example of dissonance.
Question:
Go ahead.
can this be related to the banking situation that happened now with RBC?
You
Well,
said
not
inside.
for other.
You sound a little
can it-
muffled. I can't understand what you're saying. So, say it again, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Can this situation can be related to situation with RBC and customers feeling some type of way about the interests and wanting to, well, not all of them, of course, not all of them. Some people, they satisfied with the capabilities they have with their money there. But working in the credit union, I have a few people who came in, grumpy and angry, talking about they ain't giving me no interest rate, what y'all interest rate is, and they come in and open accounts and bring in their money, etc. Is that an example of that?
I mean,
Dissonance?
it could be because they're perhaps I've been with Royal Bank for the last 20 years, and this is what happened. So dissonance is the meaning is like a lack of harmony. Like I no longer see a difference between the credit union and Royal Bank. I might as well, so it's a bit of lack of harmony with regret. That I'm sorry now that I stayed with Royal Bank for the last 20 years. I might as well keep my money in a local bank because now, the local banks are more competitive than they are. Something to that effect. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, of course, more than likely, please know how to explain dissonance because that's very popular as well on the exam. And so then the book goes on to talk about what influences consumer buying. Emotional and rational influences intertwine and lead to purchase outcomes that can be illogical to all except the buyer. Understanding buyer behavior, this means understanding how consumers make decisions and purchases, what motivates them, and what their expectations are from various products. So it goes on to talk about culture. Cultural differences raise many purchasing issues, influencing every facet of life. Cultural differences can affect purchasing in terms of what is bought, the style, the color, the types of goods and services. And again, I remember, growing up as a young girl, my mother always shopped at Super Value, and I used to complain, and say, "Mommy, why do you shop here? They never have anything, and here it is. I always go to Super Value." Or right now, my daughters, I shop at JCPenney and Macy's, and they say, "Mommy, that's for old people." But they've been all to their young people stores and see that they need some decent clothes to go along with their clothes with it's so decent. And now they saying, "Well, Mommy, perhaps I should look at JCPenney and Macy's and see what they have." I say they have a junior section, but we tend to follow what we have learned or what we have practiced. So I practiced for years going to Super Value. Even if I go to other stores, I'm still going back to Super Value. It says cultural differences can affect purchasing in terms of when things are bought. Sunday shopping, for instance. And of course, those who shop at Super Value would know that there are double stamps on Sundays. So persons wait the whole, I don't know if the man care about these type of things, but a lot of women do. And so normally persons wait until after church on Sunday. They do their heavy shopping, and a lot of persons use stamps, and I do mine, and I keep them till Christmas. And because at Christmas I go crazy in Super Value, and I have all my stamps, and I normally have like $100 and $150 worth of stamps that can come off my exuberant bill, and that makes me feel a little bit better that I saved something. I don't know. Is there anybody else or just Miss Bullard? Do we wait for Sunday shopping so we can get the double stamps or no? Or y'all too young for that? Y'all don't even go to the food store.
Well, I don't shop in Super Value, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Okay, good. The rest of them may understand what Miss Bullard said. Okay. How things are bought. Sorry?
That is standard.
Okay, standard. Okay.
Heavy shopping on Sunday.
Okay, okay, good. And so where things are bought, and I know some persons um of the Haitian descent, they don't normally go to Super Value. They don't go to stores. There's a truck that comes around and actually sells stuff out of the back of a truck. And I normally see, you don't see them until this truck, because I used to work Life a Key for a very long time. And most of the food vendors, they come out there and you can't even get food after 12 o'clock, because the Haitian nationals, they support their own and their people 100%. And so on Fridays, when they were paid, that same truck would come out. And I mean, they have everything. They have tennis, they have clothing, they have utensils and equipment. Has anybody ever seen that or no?
I never saw it. No.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and so that's their retail shop. Whereas we may go into the mall, or a big thing now is a lot of persons are selling clothes on the internet and delivering it to you. Yeah, I still see that going on, where the Haitian nationals, they come together and they support their own. Um, in the Middle East, it says how things are bought. Anybody familiar with the bartering system that used to be back in the early, what, 60s and 70s? Can I second you? Mute your mic, please. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Yeah, we're
Yes,
familiar
ma'am.
with bartering, right?
Okay.
And so we haven't heard from it for a very long time. Is there anybody that does not know what bartering is?
Well, that still goes on in the hood,
Okay, okay. Well, tell us about the hood, and then I can tell you about the Middle East. What is happening in the hood?
Ms. Bullet, if you need something, and I got it. Renita, I didn't hear that.
I say I want to know too what goes on in the hood.
Because we
Oh,
might be
y'all know.
missing out.
Listen, y'all ain't that old that y'all are removed from. Listen, I give you a can of cream and you give me 2 cups of sugar. Y'all ain't that far removed from that. I'm sure we're not far removed from that.
Okay, no, you know what? Me and my neighbors, we say we go to Super Value. We already been. If we go in Super Value, we spend more money, and so yeah, I get some cream. Sometimes she gets some sugar. We have a neighbor down the road who needed a potato salad. She's like, between the two of y'all, I don't have no potatoes, no onion, and no mayonnaise. So between the two of y'all, I need to make a potato salad, and I'm not going to the store. And we were shocked. Now she took the cake. Yeah, but she needed potato salad, not rice or cream or sugar. Potato salad. How about that? How about that? Anybody else ever borrow a potato salad?
No, or half a
Potato
cup of
salad,
cream.
but
I still trying to figure that out.
What about you, Denise? Denise, you're very quiet. You've been quiet for a couple of weeks now. You there, Denise?
I'm right here.
You never had to borrow a potato salad, Denise?
Oh,
You would have gone to the store. Eh?
no, I would have probably gone with corn.
Instead of potato salad, you would have said, "Can I have a can of corn?" Eh? Okay. All right, yeah, we got a neighbor that. But in the Middle East, there's something called hawala payments. If you don't know, a lot of persons around the world, they're unbanked or they are connected to terrorist organizations. And so they still exercise the bartering payments, where if you have cattle and you're in the Middle East, they will give your family cattle in exchange for a shipment out of China or a shipment out of Russia. And so they have these various however it's connected, and they call it hawala. So no cash is involved. And of course, we know with KYC and customer due diligence, Bin Laden cannot walk into the bank and open an account. So of course, he lived for 10 years. He was on insulin. He had wives and he lived comfortably in a 2-story house. How did he pay the bills? How did he survive? How did he get food? And again, through these various hawala payments, whereas no money, no bank is involved, but they trade, okay, and they are able to survive, okay. So that's cultural differences and how things are bought and where things are bought and why things are bought. Um, then of course there are socioeconomic groups, like the Jehovah Witness. Again, they are a very strong group, and I had some very close Jehovah Witness friends, and what they said is when it was the hurricane, and normally Bahamians go out and they buy plywood, and they would we say we batten up our houses, right? Um, this guy who's my close friend in the Jehovah's Witness group, he said that the church came together, went down to FYP, got $5,000 worth of plywood and nails and what have you, and all of the men are going to go around to each member's house if they need it, and um, secure their houses from the hurricane. And then the center also was a hurricane shelter. So I thought that was very good camaraderie. And I said that's excellent that, there are some single women out there or some men who are white collar who don't know how to do plywood or whatever, but may have the money to pay for it or what have you. And so I thought that was a very good initiative of them coming together and helping each other. Okay. So there are various things that would motivate your buying habits and would encourage, like I said, if your family normally wears a certain type, a certain brand, um, it hurts some people sometimes, and sometimes it 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 it's a good thing. I had a friend who um my well my friend was dating this guy who used to drive a BMW, and his BMW broke down and he could not afford another one. And do you know that he rented cars because he said his family only drives BMWs and he refused to buy a car that he could afford. So he was out of a car for almost 3 years. And when he finally, I guess, saved up enough money to buy this BMW, he couldn't even put gas in it. So I does it really make sense? Does it make sense to live above your means and have these various? I mean, it does if you could afford it. But if you cannot afford it, you will walk around and catch rides and make somebody else rich off of um what is it? Self-drive cars because your family has a standard. So all of this affects your buying habits and um how people, what they purchase and why. There are some families out there where they say, oh, we could only wear name brand or a certain brand, or or you're frowned upon if you don't. I always say I wear whatever's nice. I like clothes that last, and that are nice. I like the ball on the budget. I like discounts, but it just really really depends on how you were trained or how you grow up. And a lot of people now I see. I have another friend who said, well, I grew up in the ghetto and we didn't even have TV, we didn't have running water. And so now he has a nice job. He has gone to college, has a nice job, but he takes his entire salary because he has to live now in Cable Beach and attend, sign up for all the clubs and go to lavish dinners and what have you. So I guess, yeah, socioeconomic, the way you grow up, contributes to what you buy and how you feel. And then you have some people who grew up um very wealthy, but they are very conservative because they were taught you know, about finances at a very early age, and they know, for the most part, I feel that I think it was this group where I told the story about Salkers. Now, wealthy people do not display their wealth. They're actually very afraid of that money and very afraid of being targeted. So they don't wear the name brands and the things across their chest and everyday props when they go out, but they are trying to conserve their wealth. So I have a friend who also has a Mercedes Benz, but husband drives a scooter to work, and he uses that scooter to avoid traffic as well as to save on gas. Because he said his Mercedes it costs probably $75 to fill up, whereas he only needs $10 for his scooter, and he gets around the entire Bahamas. I mean, in Nassau. So there are various different things that affect our purchases and the way we shop and what we buy. Okay, but the buying process, I think there are 5 stages in the buying process, and it's problem recognition, information search, evaluation of the alternatives, purchase decisions, and then post-purchase evaluation. So I think in that post-purchase evaluation is where we experience dissonance and decide, did I really need to buy this extra pair of shoe? Did I need to buy 3 cases of hand towel because it was on sale and what have you? Okay. And because, like I said, more than likely this will be one of your essay questions. Let's read this in detail. And then I also have a small video on the buying process with discuss whether or not these things are still relative. Okay, so let's just see who hasn't read now that we are at the last stage of this class and the last opportunity to read. Who has not had an opportunity to read as yet? Nobody? Man, somebody just leave right away.
When you say read, you mean the paragraph in
Yeah,
class?
yeah,
Oh, I always reading. I can't.
yeah. I want y'all to be awake. I want y'all to be awake, and I want you to be engaged. So tell me, who nobody needs some final points.
Is this page 178, Miss Bullet?
180.
Oh, 180.
I could read, you know.
Go ahead. Thank you for volunteering. Or Jade
So
was about to
that's,
volunteer. Jade,
I
was it
mean,
you?
You can go. I just reach home.
Okay. Go
Yes,
ahead,
ma'am.
Tanisha.
so that's the buying process.
Yes.
Okay, consumers of any type buy not because they want a product or service in itself, but because they want to solve problems they have. These problems can be solved. These problems to be solved are rooted in the lifestyle of the personal customer or the organizational needs of a corporate customer and are influenced by the factors we have discussed so far in this unit. If we consider a very simple approach to the buying process, we can identify 5 key stages. Problem recognition. The first stage in the process is problem recognition. The buyer must recognize a need and thus be motivated to solve it. A difference exists between the customer's desired state and their actual state, and this difference is sufficiently large to persuade the customer to act in order to solve the problem. The recognition by the customer of a problem, a need for a particular type of product or service, will be affected by the individual's personal characteristics, social position and relationships, economic circumstances, and psychological makeup. In the case of financial services, factors such as attitudes to risk and attitudes to debt may be particularly important in the problem recognition process. Information search. The second stage involves seeking information which can be used in the decision-making process. Many sources of information exist, and typically, the more complex the problem, the more information will be sought. Sources include the following: memory. If the purchase to be made is of a type which has been made before, then past experience with the product or service is a potent influence. Family. Reference is made to past purchasing behavior by the family unit. Other people. This may include friends, acquaintances, or people in professional positions. For example, a car enthusiast or a high fee buff may be approached because their view on car or hi-fi purchases are valued and seen as independent and hence highly powered in influencing behavior. Chemists are often asked to recommend non-prescription medicines by customers, a fact recognized by suppliers who try to convince chemists to recommend their brand. Similarly, small businesses may rely on accountants and solicitors to give advice regarding banking decisions. Sale, Sales brochures, visits to bank branches, watching, listening to, reading advertising messages. The process of collecting information regarding the possible purchases may therefore be internal based on past experience of a product or service, or may simply take the form of brand loyalty. Equally though, the customer may undertake external searches, collecting information from manufacturers, distributors, other users, consumers, association, etc. The extent of information will often be influenced by the nature of the purchase. A major item of an expenditure will often involve the consumer in extensive information search. For example, buying a house, while a more minor item of expenditure, such as travel insurance for a short holiday, may be subject to a more limited search. Purchasers are there most receptive to advertising messages in this stage. How purchasers at this stage can be recognized and influenced is an important question. Making persuasive information is available is very important. Evaluation of alternatives. The third stage is to identify alternative solutions and to evaluate each option. This process may be as quick as a shopper looking at competing brands on a supermarket shelf, or it may take months if the purchase is important. Based on the evaluation of alternatives, the consumer will make a choice to buy, selecting that product which has the most satisfactory performance in relation to the evaluative criteria. In the absence of sudden or unexpected changes in the consumer circumstances or in the marketplace, the evaluation process will lead to actual purchase. The first task for suppliers is to get their product on a customer's short list of options, known as the vote set. How the options are evaluated will involve both rational and emotional considerations. For example, a car can be evaluated on rational criteria such as price, economy, range of extras, performance, but also emotional criteria such as style, color, quality, image, and personality. What should be remembered at this point is that the evaluative criteria will be related back to the factors that influence the problem recognition process. Hence, from a marketing point of view, some understanding of problem recognition will aid in identifying the types of evaluative criteria used by the consumers.
Okay, thank you very much, Vanessa. Omara, can you continue on page 182 for us, please?
Okay, purchase decision. The fourth stage is the purchase decision. The customer will see this decision in terms of a solution to the problem he has identified. It is important that suppliers also take this view and thus express all communications to customers in terms with which the customer can identify in a way that emphasizes benefits and solutions to problems. Based on the evaluation of alternatives, the consumer will make a choice to buy, selecting that product which has the most satisfactory performance in relation to the evaluative criteria. In the absence of sudden or unexpected change in the consumer's circumstances or in the marketplace, the purchase decision will lead to actual purchase. Should circumstances change unexpectedly, it is possible that the decision may be not to buy or to postpone purchase until a later date. Post-purchase evaluation. The process does not end with the purchase decision. Buyers reappraise their decision. Most purchase dissonance has already been considered. If consumers are satisfied with the experience of using the product or service, the next time a similar problem arises, they may short-circuit the process and buy the same solution, and thus become loyal customers. If the customer is dissatisfied, then not only will the same supplier not be used, but the customer may disseminate negative reports about the supplier and or his products to others. It is perhaps worth mentioning that advertising and promotion can play an important role in reducing the extent of post-purchase dissonance. First, such dissonance may arise because expectations have been raised too high. So it is important that promotional activities do not promise what cannot be delivered. Second, advertising and promotional activities can be directed at existing consumers rather than potential ones, in order to reassure them that their purchase decision was the correct one. Personal financial requirements. 3 basic financial needs can be identified for most customers of banks. Transaction services provide payment mechanisms and a means of exchange. Wealth accumulation services enable individuals to hold and rearrange holdings of wealth over time through savings and borrowing. Financial security is sought to ensure continuity of spending plans in the face of changing economic circumstances and to meet the need to synchronize purchase with flow of income, source of income. Thus, although in current account could conceivably meet, Thus, although an interest-bearing current account could conceivably meet all 3 needs, service can be more precisely tailored to meet these needs. Conceivably meet all 3 needs. Services can be more precisely tailored to meet these needs, such as higher interest accounts for wealth accumulation and credit cards for transaction services. Customers do not, in fact, buy products or services. They buy the benefits that these products or services provide. Buying customers receive little in physical terms, a checkbook or a credit card, for example. But do they receive services of a variety of kind? Also, unlike products, buying services consist not of one single purchase transaction, but of close and varied dealings with their bank over a number of years, coming into contact with a range of the bank staff and services. The relationship between the customer and the bank is the key to customer satisfaction. The delivery of the product is as important as the product itself. The standard of service at branches converts the intangible into the tangible. A service is basically intangible.
We can stop right there.
Sorry.
We can stop right there. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I just want to ask some questions. So Kendrick, moving back to our first class, when we talk about the post-purchase evaluation, the book went on to say it's perhaps worth mentioning that advertising and promotion can play an important role in reducing the extent of post-purchase dissonance. You want to ensure that you do not advertise something that you cannot produce or provide. Give me an example of, and we talked about this in the first or second class, advertising and not producing. Give me an example, please.
Okay, does it have to be relative to finance?
No, right here locally in the Bahamas.
Okay, here it is. I went into a local utility company where they were advertising and beating down my door. This would have been the Flow TV package with the fiber optic upgrade. They advertising it on TV, they beating down your door, gave the information, went in and found that nothing was done on that end. And I had to put up with a few weeks of trying to get straight with this product that was advertised like crazy. Plus, they were calling you and torturing you, the telemarketing people, to take out this product. And then when I got involved in the process, and basically ready to kick Cable Bahamas to the curb, there was such a long, drawn-out process. And then on top of that, to actually get the product and to have 3 fridge in my house, if you all know what I mean. 3 fridge in my house. The 2 boxes that I got from BTC, they were freezing more than my fridge. So
Wow.
that's my example. They over advertise about this Flow TV, how reasonable it was, more or less than cable, all of the different features. They came, got all of my information, filled out everything, which would have locked me in for a year of service. And when I got to the process of actually having to follow up, the salesperson hadn't done one thing, and it left me in a lurch. Overpromise, under-deliver.
Correct. And I've had that experience with BTC as well. Another instance is that press while you wait. Get your clothes in 2 hours. Y'all know that's a pet peeve of mine. I ready to write 10 letters to Superwash because you can never press while you wait, right? And then all these banks and financial services companies that using the artificial intelligence telling you, please leave a message and we'll even Cable Bahamas, please leave a message and we will contact you in 2 hours. They didn't say 2 hours, Ben. 2 hours, 2 years from now. Okay, we want to ensure that we do not, and if we are offering the service, and I want all of y'all to go and check to see if this is what your voicemail says, because Ms. Bullock can call all of y'all tomorrow and leave a voicemail to see if y'all could contact me, and I call y'all with your grade. Y'all never get your grade, especially some of y'all who work with artificial intelligence is answer the main line. You think they'll ever get their grade, Tanishka? Or that's your company too? Tanishka there? Omara, what about you? You have a live body answering your phone or artificial intelligence?
We have a
Live
live
bodies.
body, yeah,
Live
answering our
bodies.
phones.
Okay, so y'all two will get your grade. I don't know, but Monique and Danara. Tanishka, which
My phone was mute.
okay.
It's a live body. It's a
You have a
live
live
body.
body. So Bonique, Danara, Dania, Denise, and Renita, no grades for y'all. Ms. Bullock can leave a message on your voicemail.
I have a direct line.
Oh,
Call me
direct
direct.
line.
We have
No,
a live body too.
I have a direct line. Oh, and the only body is me. I'm the live body, so I'm going to get that grade.
Okay, good.
Well, I may not get it because my life body in Trinidad.
Okay.
Oh,
You know, she just sent me. I could go to 10 extension with a voicemail with nobody answering before I reach to yours. Because she can't even pronounce your name. She could say, Danya Road.
Hold, please, she is unavailable.
Yeah, she's unavailable at the moment. Yeah. Okay. Praneek, tell us what are the 5 stages in the buying process?
Sorry, but say it again.
What are the 5 stages in the buying process?
The buying process? I don't know if it's you, but what I'm hearing is it's kind of a little distorted. Can you say it one more time? What is the
5 stages in the buying process?
Okay, the 5 stages in the buying process.
Yeah, Omara and Tanisha was just reading all that good information they just give us. I tell you, this could be your SAE question. You all have to get this. You want somebody to help you? Danara? Danara, you there? Danara ain't answering me. Denise? Yeah, all that reading, Tanishka need a glass of water and Omara after all that reading. Come, somebody answer me. Okay, Danya, you want to answer?
No,
Would
it be the purchase?
I can do it. I'm here. I'm here. Sorry.
Would it be
I'm
the
here.
purchase decision? Would the purchase decision be one of them?
In the
It's problem recognition.
That's the 4th one, yeah.
information gathering, evaluating solutions, purchase phase, and then the post-purchase phase.
Right. So please know the 5 stages, and then please know how to explain the 5 stages, okay? And so I figured that we read it in detail to make sure, we alerted everybody, got awareness of the process. Now we're gonna watch a small video to just find out if all of this is still current and relevant and what's happening now in the world, because with the social media, a lot of things have changed. Okay, but you need to know those 5 stages. Okay, what is dissonance? Who can answer me? Nobody? Everybody was asleep?
Dissonance is like when you purchase a purchase made that does not satisfy that desire or need.
Yeah, when you purchase something, you're having second thoughts.
Yeah, like.
And y'all can write this in an essay.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we gotta we gotta get some more fluff then, Miss Bullet.
Yeah, y'all better find some more fluff. Anyway, let's listen to this video. Yes?
Which chapter we on? I kind of just came in.
Chapter 12.
Chapter 12.
Looking at page 183 right now.
Thank you.
Okay, so I am trying to show you all this video. Hopefully this second reminder after all that reading. I gave an overview, then we read, and hopefully this now will, get everybody aware of what we are talking about. Okay? Very good. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Can't hear it though.
Okay, I'll turn it up.
Still no sound.
I'm just stopping it. Kendrick, you're saying you can't hear the sound?
No, ma'am, I can't hear any sound.
Okay, is there anybody else who can't hear the sound?
Yeah, Denise just put in the
None
chat.
of us can hear the sound.
Okay. I'm wondering why you can't hear the sound. 1 second. I don't know. I have the volume all the way up. Okay, perhaps, can you hear now or no? Kendrick, can you hear?
No, ma'am.
You can see, but you just can't hear.
Yes, ma'am, I can see, but I can't hear.
Make me some chocolate milk.
Okay.
I can hear it.
Give me that.
Okay.
Yeah, some.
I'll send the link for you to listen to. But basically, sorry, you were saying something, Omara? Omara? No? Okay, so basically what he is talking about is that the 5 stages are still current and they are in effect. It's just that, oh, I think I know why. No, that's just silent. That may be the reason why you can't hear. Let me try one more time and tell me if you can hear. I think it's because my phone was on silent. 1 second. Can you mute your mics, please? Can you hear now or no?
Still can't
Kendra.
hear now. Still can't hear.
Okay.
Baby, this look nice.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll send that link just so you can listen to it, because it talks about the internet now, and again it shows you there are two important, let me just pull it up to give you the correct information. So there he talks about SOE, and it says we have investigated a new metric to see how this can help marketers. It's called SOE, share of experience. It's the percentage of total brand experiences that a brand has in relation to the total market. So it counts every time you type in, if you're looking for blankets. So it will give a metric on how many people are looking for blankets right now. Or I think we've seen it on Expedia. When we go and we try and select a hotel, it will tell you that 400 persons just looked at this hotel. Have we seen that, like on Expedia, or when we are making travel plans?
Yes, ma'am. I know I've seen it before.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's the share of experience. And so along in the buying process, all of the stages are still there, but they use SOE. So when you hear SOE, you know, that word should now be a part of your vocabulary, and you should know what it means. And then they talk about PPE, and an ad on Facebook stands for page post engagement, and it's a campaign objective that you can choose when creating a new Facebook ad campaign. When you run a Facebook campaign with the PPE ads, Facebook will show your ads to people who they think are most likely to engage with your ads. So again, Facebook is in a lot of problems with this right now because they had a whistleblower the other day. But sometimes, you know, if we're having a conversation, or if you search, like I said, for blankets, every blanket that on sale, or every person who sells a blanket, every institution will automatically pop up on your feed, right? And so I think the whistleblower said that Facebook was storing all this data, and there were a lot of people who were I guess looking on suicidal pages or depression pages that attribute to depression, and instead of Facebook, I guess, creating a metric to help those persons, they just sent them more information that would attribute to depression or suicidal thoughts. And the whistleblower had said, you know, they said, well, we can't, you know, this is only for negatives, but for positives as well. This is like in marketing what we do, and this has changed the marketing world. And so the lady had basically said, well, just how you created all these things, you need to create something where, you know, if it's related to mental illness, then block it rather than play it to the person who is suicidal 100 times. And so she said that in board meetings, she had been rejected and what have you. And basically Facebook had been negligent. So she then blew the whistle. And I guess that's now why they are changing the name. And I don't know if you all remember when she blew the whistle, Facebook, WhatsApp, everything was down for half a day. Do we remember that day, about last month sometime?
Yeah, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago, right. Yeah, so she blew the whistle, and I don't know what they did. I think they just, I don't know, she took the site down or they took the site down to try and get rid of the evidence quickly, because Facebook is unregulated, and what happens is every time something like this happens, he just goes and sits before the Senate and he apologizes. Oh, I'm very sorry. Yes, I was aware, and my company apologizes, and we'll do. And so the Senate has to, they can't really shut Facebook down, and they don't know how to control him, but they attribute to, you know, him getting away with all these things. is that because he is not regulated and there are no laws that can fine him or shut him down, like how they put persons in Facebook jail and what have you. And I think she also blew the whistle about, the Trump campaign, whereas they, increased the number of, ads during the election in support of Trump, on an unfair basis or something to that effect. And I guess it's in the Senate now, so I guess you could listen to it if you want more in-depth information. But again, like I said, for the most part, on the positive side, these metrics help. And they alert, like I said, businesses too. If you sell towels or blankets and persons are looking for it, then you will get a, automatically ad will pop up on that person's feed and it'll basically say suggested for you. Or when persons go into Google and they put in blankets, the web pages just pop up and you have a selection to choose from. So all of it is now in the name of advertisement or good advertising or helping to reach the masses. Okay. So I will email you the link so you can listen to it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So are we clear? Denise, you have a question? Okay, you were just saying no, sign. Okay, so do we have any questions on the buying process? We understand the important parts.
That's mom.
Yours just say yes, mom. No, I want you have to write a whole essay on this.
Yeah, I think I got the general gist of it. I think once
supposed to
we,
be discussion day.
was it Dissonance?
I personally just have to go and read it over.
Yeah, I think that's what it is with me as well. I read it already. I just need to go and find some examples.
Okay, just to get
that would give it some meat, I guess. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I don't want to overwhelm you with more information. So we'll just cover the Consumer Protection Act. So in the book, it talks about, cross-selling, it talks about branding, it talks about consumer protection. And of course, we are already familiar with the Ombudsman office. I am trying to pull up the Consumer Protection Commission. And but I think Kendrick should be able to tell us about it, Kendrick, or no? Because it's in a office that you may be familiar with. Kendrick?
Yeah, my mic was muted. That's consumer. That's the act or
The commission. The commission itself.
oh, consumers. That's in next door, Omar. That's next door to head office.
Yes. So do we know anything about them or no?
Not really, because I know that if my memory serves me correctly, they went there about just over 4 years ago. Because I think when they were introduced, Hope Strawn, the former member of Parliament for Seabreeze, she was in charge of them. So that would make it about almost 5 years ago. I don't have any information on them other than the fact that they're supposed to be maintaining the standard of the products that are actually coming into the country. I know that was one of their major items in their portfolio to make sure that the quality for the consumers are at a high standard. That's all I got, Ms. Bullitt.
Okay, so I am going to try and let's see if I can share this so we can find out exactly who.
When you're done.
Sorry?
No, sorry, Mr. Mittens was talking about NHI.
No, they're in the same building as NHI. It's a
Oh.
ministry that came on stream maybe 4.5, 5.5 years ago. I know it was under the last PLP administration that particular ministry was introduced in regards to consumer goods, or I can't remember their actual business name, but I know it was something relative to consumers.
Okay, so for some reason their site is down right now. Okay, but the book talks about unlike many industries, there's a long history of consumer protection legislation in the financial services provision, as financial services suppliers have moved into related fields. Regulation issues such as conflict of interest, cross-selling, and confidentiality of information has arisen. Okay, and so in the building, there's a consumer protection information and complaints department. And so it says under the consumer protection, there is the Price Control Act of 1971, and it regulates the breadbasket items. So this is on the government website. The site is down right now. However, I'm certain that this list is not completely up to date. It may be, but I doubt that it is. This is a government website. But it talks about price control. And so these are bread basket items that have should not be priced at a certain amount. Now, prior to, I don't know if it's coming in effect, is it gonna come in effect in January? There was no VAT on these items, and now VAT is gonna be on these items. When does it come in effect?
Yeah, January, I think it's January 2nd. I think that was I could be wrong, but I think it's within the first 4 or 5 days of the new year that clownish nonsense is supposed to take effect.
Right. And then we have a lot of with Fresh Market and other organizations that say they sell organic foods. So who confirms that is actually organic? And of course, we know all these organic foods are sold at a higher price. And so therefore, this is what the Consumer Protection Department does, ensure that I guess they test for, pesticides or fertilizers, and ensure that the products are indeed organic. And also under this ministry, there's a Rent Control Act and a Consumer Protection Act. And again, it protects from hazardous to their health and safety, consumer education, avenues for effective redress of complaints, encouragement of formation of consumer groups to represent consumer views and matters of interest and decision complaint. So of course, I don't know. I know sometimes we see, during hurricanes and but even in the pandemic, we saw the price gouging, and we did have the person responsible for the price control come on TV and say, yes, we are at the super value, and yes, they are price gouging. We are at the water depots, and we see that the price of water has drastically increased. We are at JBR and Top Lumber, and we see that persons have increased the price of plywood, and that's it. And we are warning them that it's a hurricane and they should not increase the price. Right? Have we seen any fines or actions or anybody, any of JBR or Tops or anybody being brought before the court, super value, anybody?
I mean, Ms. Bullitt, you don't get to see those things because the what they call themselves, the third or the fourth estates, the media doesn't really pronounce anything, and certain people don't go out of their way to actually report on these items. But I mean, I haven't heard of any.
In the same light that that price control person is there saying that they should not be doing it, he should say, and this is the fine, or this person will be, or this institution will be brought before the court. And I'm certain the news would report that the next day. I'm certain. okay, or should. But I've never ever seen. He just comes on the TV and tells us what we already know. Okay, so we need to visit this office and see, their statistics on when the price gouging has happened, what was the outcome, and what happened to these persons. Okay, but just so you would know that it is there. And the book talks about consumer protection and what protects the consumer. And we of course know about the ombudsman office and that being established. And right now, I think the legislation is being tabled in the House of Assembly. I saw some documentation online or in the newspaper that spoke to the duties of the ombudsman and how widespread it is. Did anybody else see it? No? Nobody else reading the newspaper?
I got the smallest paper, but I didn't see anything about the ombudsman, which that was the Tribune I got today.
So I wonder if I should put that in this exam. I don't test you on the ombudsman office enough. I wonder.
Yeah, we got enough of that.
That's current information, but okay. Yeah, so the book goes on to talk about branding and then cross-selling. And all I want to say about branding is if you look at Gucci and Fendi and BMW and Mercedes, do you see any commercials on TV?
Not really.
No, ma'am.
Okay, why?
I see the Mercedes.
Okay, Mercedes.
Well, I already know about that brand. That's a well-known brand.
Okay,
They're already
yeah, so
established.
right, they're already established and their brand is very, very strong. And you notice when they step out of line, Gucci did the blackface thing the other day. And so they immediately apologized for that and took those pictures down immediately because, again, they know that their brand is so strong. And so they are subjected to reputational risk. So when the complaints came out about, the blackface thing with Gucci, they took it down right away. When I was at Royal Bank, we used to just be Royal Bank Private Banking and Royal Bank Trust Company. And then they decided that, that's old now. And I think we were approaching the 21st century. And so therefore we needed a new look and a new brand. And so, we changed we redecorated the foyer, put in some nice shiny tile, made it look a little bit more exquisite. And then we changed the name. Yeah, more modern, correct. Put in some new furniture and we changed the name to Royal Bank Wealth Management. So that would have incorporated the trust company, the private banking, and Dominion Securities. Okay, all of that fell under wealth. Okay, so we tried to promote that we are now like a one-stop shop. Well, all of the departments, all of those, they were separate entities, but they were in one building. And so we tried to say that this is a one-stop shop, and with private banking and advisory. And I think we talked about this last class. Persons would come and say, Miss Bullitt, because I used to be an account manager at one point. What do you think about the shares in Google? What do you think about the shares? And I always had to respond that I can refer you to our advisory department. I cannot give, advice. We have a separate department for that. And if I was there just giving out the information, why would persons go and pay an advisor? Right? And so we had to ensure that just in conversation, we were giving that white glove service to our customer, but also referring them and letting them know that we could not, give advisory advice. Okay. Along with that, prior to, I think, when was it? There's a cross-border and cross-selling. And so the bank went on a journey of generational banking, because just like in the retail, if Grammy used to bank with Royal Bank, when it's the, you don't really have no money, Grammy trying to encourage you to open an account. So Grammy said, come, let me take you down to Miss Bullitt, the Royal Bank, and open up an account. And then you grew up and you had your kids and everybody comes. So we focus on generational banking. And I said that's when we started with our name tags and trying to build customer relationships and getting to know our customers. And so all of that was a marketing strategy to ensure that we retained our business. And then cross-border laws were implemented all around the world, because I remember at one point our sales manager from Nassau held there was a symposium in Canada, and we had a desk there where they could visit and get information on how to open an account in the Bahamas at wealth management. We had all of the memorabilia and the giveaways and takeaways and marketing pens and what have you to hand out at the symposium or conference or whatever you want to call it. And I remember we paying for the booth and ensuring that he got, we ordered all of the supplies, and he went over there. And about 2 weeks after he returned, we got notice that, Canada now has cross-border rules in place, and that no other Royal Bank employee can come and cross-sell to Canadians. And so soon after, cross-border rules came out for Switzerland, cross-border rules came out for almost every jurisdiction. So what that meant is, normally when some salespersons, they work on commission, and when they work on commission, they don't get a salary. If they open an account for $1 million, they get 15%. And so these cross-border rules now stated that a Bahamian cannot come into Canada and look for business or sell products and services without a Canadian. So what that now meant that Bahamian would no longer get, if it was a Canadian, that Bahamian would have to contact that Canadian would get half of it, their 15%. So now that cut down the amount of salary that Bahamian would be making. And so surprisingly, we didn't put in cross-border rules, but it became an entire service offered now by tax lawyers, and the restrictions have just grown since it initially came out. So now each country now has cross-border rules, and you have to abide by them or fines are attached. And their border protection is even in tune with that. When you go on a business trip, they question you, do you have a temporary? And even in Nassau, I think Ryan Pinder did away with the temporary work permit, but there was or whoever was immigration last, there was a temporary work permit required, like when consultants or salespersons came, they had to apply and pay the government for a temporary work permit. So that's the way the Bahamas handle it. But like I said, when our salespersons, they traveled to Switzerland to just meet their clients who they had even before these laws changed, they have to go with a Canadian representative or Swiss representative, and Border Patrol checks their luggage and checks to make sure that they don't have any marketing materials with them. And if they do, that it's approved by the location in their country. And again, it was just to protect their financial services sector and their employees over there, that we were not coming into their jurisdictions and I guess basically stealing their customers. Okay, so that's just some information on cross-selling and branding, and so you will understand how it works. And again, the book goes on to talk about sustainability tests and risk tolerances. And I think we talked about that last week again. I told you the story about the customer who said, if I lose another $1, my risk tolerance used to be high, but now it's low. And so you really have to ensure that you are, offering products and services based on the customer's risk tolerances. And it's a suitability test. I'm sorry, not sustainability, but a suitability test that is carried out on the institution or on the relationship manager to ensure that they are suitable and to offer these products and services, and they are aware of risk tolerances, and they are aware of what products, particularly in this securities markets, what how products are risk rated and which products are very volatile in order to be offering this. And I think I had asked y'all if y'all ever went to Orlando and stayed at a timeshare and they try and sell you timeshare. They will cause you have a heart attack because they offer you a very nice luxurious hotel room for about a week for $199. But you must go to a 90-minute meeting. Nobody has ever went to a timeshare meeting? No?
Oh,
Yes,
no.
ma'am.
You got too many I hear too many horror stories.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
yeah.
I own a timeshare.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so you know how the meeting is. If you stay for the $199, you go to the meeting, it's for 90 minutes, and they give you a nice lunch and everything. But if you decide that you do not want to buy, they say, hold on, let me get my manager, and the manager comes, and then they offer you a bigger discount. You still say no, and they at least 6 persons come, and to me it's harassment if you do not want to buy, and they hold you for an additional hour, and you have to be like so adamant that they are very desperate, and the sales pitch, some people fall for it, but to me, you have to have disposable income to be paying a mortgage or rent at home, and also pay for vacation rental that you could only use for 2 weeks per year, and you're paying like $15,000 to $20,000. But some of us could afford it. Okay, so any questions or concerns? Because you're very, very quiet. I don't even feel like you're listening to me. This is the last class. You're like, Miss Bullet, we had enough, like no more. You're listening to me?
Yes, ma'am. I know I am.
We listen.
Tell me what I said. So give me some feedback. Not all at once. You're better
Hey,
pass it.
I stay talking, so somebody else had to speak.
Let me see who we can speak. Dorset. Give me some feedback, Dorset. I just gotta make sure that you understand. You're far away. Dorset didn't even answer me. Okay. All right, then if you don't want to, Daniel, what about you, Daniel? Daniel, you there? Okay.
I am.
Yeah. Well, give me some feedback. Make me feel good.
You say you hold on. I was eating. And any of the topics, or just what we just spoke about just now?
Would we talk about cross-selling, the buying process, anything?
I don't like to talk that much, Miss Bullet. I ain't gonna lie.
What kind of discussion-based class this is, Daniel? What kind of discussion-based? Miss Bullet can talk to you. You just can answer the questions. Let me see what you walking away from the class with.
A lot, but you really want me to discuss that?
Give me something that you understand from what was said tonight. Daniel going, okay. Denara, what about you? Daniel, you back? Denara, what about you?
We spoke about the bantering process.
Talked about
Hello?
We spoke about the bantering process and how people in certain parts of the country would still use that to exist today.
Okay, very good. Y'all go write all of this in your essay. Okay.
We just want topics, right? I mean, you went into
tell me
using
what
the whole
you.
example
What
about.
I don't want to talk all this time.
we talked about branding.
Go ahead, Denise, and then Omara. Go ahead, Denise. Finish, Denise.
I was just saying how you spoke about how it's still being used today in certain parts of the world, and you used the example with Bin Laden, um, that he didn't work, but he existed. So obviously he was using the boundary system, and that still works just fine. And how also you brought it up today, like how we use it here back home with your neighbor. She wanted cream, and I have sugar, and so we switch, or potato salad.
Correct, correct. Okay, very good, Denise. Go ahead, Omara.
You talked about branding. Now it's a good thing to have your brand established. You don't have to do much advertising because you're already known. You talked about cross-selling too, that you cannot try to solicit try to sell to other people, customers.
Countries.
If you came to a different location that you work for, countries, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So
So
you cannot
what
try to
about
get.
okay, so anybody in the loans department, what about right here in the Bahamas? I notice do we send persons back to their branch if you already have a relationship or an account at Carmichael Road, do we say go to Carmichael Road, or if you already established with a loan officer, do we refer you to the same loan officer, or how is it working here?
Well, for us, if you have a loan with a certain branch and you come to another branch, you would send you to, your home branch to deal with any queries on your loan. If you want to top up, you want to print out, we would send you back to your home branch.
What, print out?
Yeah, anything pertaining to that loan.
Okay, so do we have any competitive queries like persons at Carmichael saying you at Palmdale and you steal my customer, and you could look in the system and see that's my customer, or we don't have, because each branch has their own target. Do we have those type of issues or no?
No, we don't have that type of issue.
Okay. All right. So are we seeing now more reasonable targets? Are we now setting smart goals, or are they still unrealistic and unachievable?
Well, I don't want to comment on that on this recording.
Okay. All right. Okay. Kendrick?
Me?
I know you go. Have the conversations.
Tell Miguel stop recording.
I know, right? so I can get loose.
Yeah, okay. But again, like I say, we are the future leaders, and these are the things we want to have in our minds. To what is the solution to this? Yes, the bank has to make a profit and meet its expenses. However, we don't want to cause the persons to compromise themselves. Is it just a training issue, or how do we strike a balance? And so of course that requires research. So start the research now so you can have a holistic plan by the time you get in the seat. Don't wait till you get in the seat and say, oh, this has been a long stemming problem and I don't want to fix it. Okay, so let's be those the trendsetters and be cognizant of all the issues that are there, and go into these positions with a plan. Perhaps start to drop it in the suggestion boxes and anonymously, and create the awareness if it's not there. Go ahead, Kendra.
I was saying bottoms up or top down.
Yep. Yeah, but again, it has to come to light. It has to come to light. Okay, we can't just have persons, just being fight over and over and over, and we don't get to the root problem and bring it to light and try to put controls in place to, control these things that we are quite aware of, and then again, we don't want to have persons are coming into the profession so afraid to work into these departments that you almost have like a nobody wants to go in credit any longer, or nobody is sees it as appealing, anymore, because um unreasonableness and the possibility to lose your job if you don't meet a certain metric or a certain budget that is set. Okay, so start the process now, because you're next. Okay, and we need some people who are going to make a difference and make this profession more sustainable, and control the amount of outsourcing, I guess, within our control. But I always say that if at the helm of the institution is a foreigner, they are advocating for their country, because it's tough to find a job now. Imagine being away from your country for 10 years and then going back and trying to apply. What's going to make you, stand out from the rest? Only the products and services or the functions you should be able to put on your resume. 100 jobs created, whilst I was gone from my country, I brought this process and this and what have you, and they say, okay, so you was over there bringing back jobs. Okay, yeah, so we could consider you. But that is what is happening, and so we need to see that at the table so that we can make decisions that's in the best interest of the Bahamas. Not only Bahamians, because we have other nationalities here, and if they're in the Bahamas, we just want to ensure that what's best for the Bahamas. And when I was at Royal Retail, we used to be the hub. We used to be the back office. We had a centralized operation center, and now I think that is completely outsourced to Trinidad. So we have to bring back some of those processes, and reestablish our financial services sector. Okay. Okay. Any questions or concerns? We won't go into organizational buy. I think that's just a bunch of information that they're just 1 or 2 questions. They don't necessarily, you don't have to be tested on that. So I think we have sufficient information, and we have the presentations, and then we will focus on just the topics for the final exam. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so any questions or concerns? Any feedback? No.
I'm
What about
good.
you, Jade? What about you, Jade? Talk to Miss Bullet before you leave. Jade, you there?
Yes, mom.
Okay, give me some feedback, please.
I understood. I just have to read over consumer protection. That should be it. But I understand this thing.
Okay. And would you think they really checking to make sure that they bring in organic stuff?
No, mom.
Nope.
I'd like to know how they check. I would like to know what is the test. I guess it's a pH test or something. To keep fresh market and all those places under control. But anyway, it's there, it's established, and hopefully it's effective. Okay.
Boy.
Well, Kendrick, please fix it. Our future parliamentarian, please fix it.
I ain't up with that, mama's boy.
It just seems like so much, like you have to throw the whole country away and start over.
Well, the whole thing started all over. I mean, it's just too much. It's just too much nonsense.
Yeah, but if we don't come together as educated, ethical persons and fix the things one by one, that means we are just accepting, we accepting it.
Yeah.
It could be done. We
It
just
could be
need
done, I agree.
enough like-minded people to get in position. And like I say, y'all are definitely in the right place to get to the next steps of your career. Get out there, get your name known, get your face known, network, and that'll be half of the problem solved, because it seems like if enough people like you, that's all it takes right now.
Boy.
Enough people like you, and you have some education, you'll be okay. Okay, so start networking. Start building your Ben Laden network. You can survive.
Gotta be careful how you say that.
Yep. Take nothing else from Ben Laden now except the network. Nothing else.
Yep, that's true.
Yep. Okay, guys. So if there are no other questions or concerns, I look forward to my mailbox being filled to capacity on Sunday evening, and we will present on Tuesday. So Kendrick had asked, the presentation should be at least 20 minutes and then 10 minutes for like question and answer period. And so, hopefully we have a lively discussion, and we get all the information in, and persons get the opportunity to ask questions. Okay, and so what we normally do, and I think we did this in supervisory skills, and so for the persons who weren't there, each group will give ask questions. So group one, or probably one person from group one will listen attentively to ask questions and give feedback on group one, and vice versa. So group two will give feedback on group one, group three will give feedback on group two, group four. Everybody will get feedback right on the spot, and a question and answer period. So prepare for that, please. Okay, so you don't just sit there and not listen. And more than likely, questions out of these presentations will be on the final exam. So please don't think that we did all of this. We don't really have to listen. We only have to be concerned about our own presentation and presenting. No. At least 2 questions from each group will be on the final exam. Okay, so everybody is to participate and listen attentively.
Okay, Ms. Bullock, Veronique, Ms. Bain, is it possible that I can interview you as an internal customer of RBC?
Sure.
Okay. You're in the group, right? I'll just give you a call then.
Yeah, I am.
Probably
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay, no problem. Just let me know what time.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bullock.
Okay, and I hope the rest of you are listening. Please ensure that you have some information on internal customers as well. Okay, not just external. Have you found out, how the internal customer feels? What are their views? Are they in support of the mission? Do they feel that the mission is just baseless words, or are we actually practicing it and carrying it out each day? Is it displayed in the service that we offer each day? Do they even know, other staff members, do they even know what the vision or mission says? Is there awareness? Okay. Okay, so have a great week.
You too.
Okay,
And we'll do this again next week, Tuesday.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
All right, good evening. Okay, good night.